My name is Matthew Belanger. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams and the team leader for the Mathew Belanger Agency. So Casey, what's interesting about this business is I meet a lot of good people, and it's funny. I actually worked for you and your wife when you were selling your property and then purchasing a new one. And then a few years later, I was putting out a post looking to fill a position on the team, and you had inquired to that.
I did, yeah. It's pretty funny how things come full circle, you know. When my wife and I were selling our house, I know this might sound corny, but you know, we wanted the best of the best. And you know, your name was everywhere, right? And you had just sold our neighbor's house, and they raved and raved about Mathew Belanger. And you know, I remember the first time that I called your office, and you know, had your office administrator give you a message, and you want to call me back. And I think I even said to you, like, man, I feel like I'm talking to a rock star right now, you know, because you know, you really truly the best of the best, and that's what my wife and I wanted. And you know, you came in and did everything that we want. And you might not remember, but you actually sold our house twice within 24 hours. The first buyers had some issues, and you got us back under contract literally within 24 hours. And then, I don't know, a couple of short weeks later, you got us into our current home. And you know, you and I became friends. You know, we had a lot in common and everything, but you know, I mean, we just loved everything that you did for us from the beginning to end. And then, like you said, you know, several years down the road, I'm on Facebook and I'm scrolling and I see Mathew Belanger having this post about, you know, starting this team and looking for a pretty unique position, someone to, you know, really look after clients, basically. You know, I consider myself a client care specialist now working for you. And yeah, we've really morphed it into something pretty awesome. You know, I handle almost all new inquiries, right? So I'm kind of the first person that new clients, you know, come and talk to. You know, we obviously do things differently. You know, we're a team. You know, it's not just one agent trying to do everything themselves. And a lot of clients that I talk to, they've had not so great experiences with agents that are trying to balance everything on their own. And that's where I come in, you know. I comb the MLS on a daily basis, looking for houses. I am sending houses to all of our clients. So they are not, you know, they're not having to do the work themselves, right? You know, I'm also a great go-to. What I do really allows yourself and our other team members to be out showing houses, listing houses, boots on the ground, doing the real work, right? So I'm in the background, I'm taking calls, text messages, emails, you know, I'm the go-between when you guys are out there driving around, putting miles and miles and miles, hours and hours and hours out there. I'm the guy that they can always come to in a pinch because you guys are super busy, right? So, you know, like I said, I consider myself a client care specialist because at the end of the day, what I do it for our clients. I want to make sure that they get the best service that they deserve. I don't care if you're buying a $100,000 house or $1 million house. It's a lot of money, and you deserve the best of the best. And I believe in the heart of hearts, piggybacking off of what I experienced with you personally as a client of yours, we are still giving the best of the best. And I think what we do is absolutely fantastic.
No, and you're definitely a huge part to what we do. I mean, we really put this team together, I'd say, in about 2022. And through those years, you know, you're running this team with me. You're really kind of the number two in this whole situation. Before stepping in and working with our team, you were managing hotels, right?
I was.
So we get to utilize some of that experience as we apply them in this business. And that's a consumer-facing, customer satisfaction business. And it seems like it's really worked out, us bringing some of those elements into our team.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it really has. I think, you know, and listen, there's nothing wrong with solo agents, right? I mean, there's a lot of them. But again, you know, I get a lot of feedback from our clients, and when they were working with a solo agent, they were definitely not getting the love that they get from us, and that comes from my passion of dealing with customers for 20 plus years managing hotels. I always want to make all of my my guests in my hotels feel welcomed, and I do the exact same thing with our clients that are buying and selling houses.
Oh, well, thank you for going on this journey with us. I appreciate that.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Casey, what would you say to people who are trying to time the market?
So I get that question asked a lot about time in the market, and I tell everyone there is no such thing as time in the market. A lot of people are saying that the interest rates are too high, and they're waiting to buy a house until interest rates lower, and all they're doing is waiting longer for the home prices to increase. So it washes each other out. They really are not saving any money in the long run.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, the better strategy is to purchase now while the home values are a little bit less, and then put your eyes on refinancing in the future so you can reduce that payment to the ideal rate.
100%, because then you have the best of both worlds, right? Because there might only be that one perfect house that comes along. So if you wait, you miss out on that house, right? So now is the time to buy. If you find the house that you want, don't worry about the rates, right? Get into that perfect house, no matter what the rate is. And then once rates come down, call your lender up and you can refinance, and then you have the best of both worlds.
So it seems like a lot of the people that you're talking to say that they want to hold off on talking to a lender and getting their pre-approval because they haven't found the house that they want to buy yet. What happens when you see that?
Yeah, 100%. So, again, one of my first questions when I talk to a new buyer is, have you spoken with the lender about starting the pre-approval process? And everyone kind of looks at me like a deer in headlights, And, first and foremost, the pre-approval process is super easy. Everything's done online these days. You can get a pre-approval within 24 to 36 hours. So it's easy, right? Most people are worried about their monthly payment. At the end of the day, everyone wants to know what my monthly payment is, right? So until you speak with the lender and you go through with that pre-approval process, you really don't know if you should be looking at a $250,000 house or a $350,000 house, right? So, it's so important to have that conversation with your lender to get, fully approved. That way you know exactly what price range you and your agent should be looking at. And one other very important thing about getting your pre-approval letter from your lender is if you go out and you fall in love with the house, you love 123 Main Street, right? And you want to put an offer in on it. Well, if you don't have your pre-approval letter, we can't put an offer in for you. And I guarantee that the next person that falls in love with the house, they're going to have their pre-approval letter. So chances are you're going to miss out on that house. So it's so very important. First step, talk to your lender and get that pre-approval letter.
All right, so you've been searching with the agent, you found your perfect house. What happens next?
So you find the perfect house. The most important thing is get that offer in. Get that offer in, get it accepted, right? You're going to have, on average, you're going to have 5 to 7 days to do your due diligence, and you can drive by the house in the middle of the night, or you can drive by the house in the middle of the day, to find out what the traffic's like, what your neighbors are like, what your commute is going to be like, what your taxes are going to be like. The main thing is when you find the perfect house, don't sit on it. Don't do all your due diligence before you submit the offer, because there are so many other people that love the house too, and you're going to miss out on the house. So get that offer out, get it accepted, then let the agent work for you. Let them help you do your due diligence that 5 to 7 days. And at any point in time, if there's something that you do not like about that house, your agent's going to get you out of that house and you'll be just fine.